We are live, and good morning, everybody, and welcome to Wow Wednesday. I am your host, Nancy Matthews, and I'm one of the founders of Women's Prosperity Network. And we started this midweek boost of motivation, education, and inspiration in 2009. So we are coming up on a big anniversary in December. Since 2009, every single Wednesday morning, we are here with amazing guests and content to move you and your life forward. So thank you. If this is your first time joining us, let me know down in the chat or in the comments, and welcome to Wow Wednesday. I trust that it will serve you well. And I just want to take a moment and shout out to some of our most extraordinary members in our community who have been sharing the community, letting others know about it. We've had a contest going, and we're going to be announcing the winners of that towards the end of this week. So if you want to sneak in some more referrals to get some more points, go for it. Just go to womensprosperityNetwork.com. Join us for free. And really, that is the first step with immersing yourself in this true network of inspired, impassioned women who are here to make a difference, not only in their own lives, but in the lives of everyone around them. So if you're brand new to us, go ahead, check it out and become a member for free. And now I'm going to bring on our guest. And I met Andrea Isaacs 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. We were at an event together. It was the Soulful Leadership Retreat hosted by our dear friend, Mark Porteous. And we met because Andrea was the one for me that day. Like, that's how our connection started. When I shared that I have this vision of sharing the one philosophy far and wide, and that one day, as I'm interviewed on all the talk shows and, Trevor Noah, Jimmy Fallon, that Bruce Springsteen would be on that same night as me, and we would sing a song together. And Andrea jumps up out of her chair and says,
"My brother was a sound engineer for Bruce Springsteen."
Wild. And really, like, it was so cool. It was so cool. And again, that was 2 years ago. Our relationship has blossomed. Our friendship has blossomed. We're still working on that track with the Bruce Springsteen. And here's what I want to share, because today's conversation is about your dreams and your goals and your next best steps forward with ease, peace, and joy. So I'm so grateful that she's here today. So by me sharing my vision and her having a connection to it, right? So there was some energetic connection that brought us together. And that's what I really want us all to remember, is that when you share your vision, it may not manifest in this exact moment. Sometimes it does in the moment, but it's about continually staying connected to it and being brave enough to share it, so that the ones you're meant to meet for a variety of reasons will come through. And that's really where I see us, Andrea. So I'm so grateful to have met you and to be friends with you for these past 2.5 years.
I love hearing your story, Nancy. And I got goosebumps again for a couple of reasons. And first, I want to say how much I love and admire you and all that you've done, and the community, the incredible community that you've built. I just really admire that so much. So, I want you all to know it takes two, because not only, Nancy, did you have the courage to just let people know what your big dream is. And, there's a part of me that's terribly shy. I've learned that I don't have to be shy, but that shy me was sitting in my seat, listening to you talk, saying, "My brother knows Bruce, my brother knows Bruce." And I'm like screaming it in my head. And the shy me was like, "Oh, I can't interrupt Nancy now. She's on stage. No, I can't interrupt Nancy now. She's on stage." Of course, these thoughts went through my head very quickly, because you were still talking about it when I, bolted up, stood out of my chair or stood up and raised my hand and said that. But it took the courage from my side to not have to be shy. And that's part of what I want you all to learn today, is that we can choose our emotions. And in that moment, had I chosen to be my old, small, shy self, you and I wouldn't have had that connection.
Wow. This is big. This is really big. So it took courage on your part to stand up.
And interrupt you. You're on stage.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we don't have to be run by those old patterns that we don't like anymore. And I felt how diminished I would feel. There's something else that you've mentioned in the one is that the other person being the one does not diminish you at all. It's not like they'll get all the attention, I won't get any. No, it lifts all of us up. And that's a really important point for us all to really take in, because it's not about competition. Maybe the old model was about competition, and we can't live that anymore.
No, it doesn't allow for the whole to advance.
Right.
Yeah. So let's, and I'm sure you and I could have a whole nother interview on that subject.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and bring us back to our dreams, goals, and emotional intelligence, and sharing the next best steps with ease, peace, and joy. Because I know, like, we encourage our community to dream, because it's the dreamers that get things done. It's the dreamers that advance society, that advance solutions. Like, there's so many reasons we need dreamers. And sometimes dreaming is scary, or you get disappointed, and it takes courage, right? All of those pieces.
Well, part of having a dream is it means having being or something that you don't have or you're not yet. Mm-hmm. And our brains are structured to protect us and to keep us safe. And when we're dreaming, especially the bigger we dream, the more outside our comfort zone we have to step. And that shows up in so many parts of our lives. I think how we are in any part of our life reflects how we are in all parts of our lives. So if as a child, and most of the things that hold us back in going for our dreams reflect wounds we had way back, often in infancy, pre-verbal, or maybe up to 5, 6, 7 years old. So if there's ever been a voice that was diminishing or critical, or made you feel like your needs don't matter and you've got to take care of everybody else, anything like that will hold you back when you start to dream bigger. If you want to be an entrepreneur, it means you are a dreamer. So here's a personal story about how this work really means a lot to me and how I've seen it change my clients. So as a child, it was my older sister, not my parents, who gave me this message about being diminished. I felt squished like a bug under her thumb. I just felt small and less than, and so criticized, so used to being critical. And I better not show up, because whenever I do, I got put down. And so that part of me, when I became an entrepreneur, did not serve me, because when I started trying to get write copy and get my message out there, it was reflected in my procrastination. How I wrote copy, it's as if I myself didn't believe it. And so I started doing the work that I'm doing now for others, which I now call the Isaacs method for emotional mastery. I started using that modality on myself, and I noticed that, I was feeling really small. My work is about embodiment. So I just took that into my body. And how did that feel for me? Contracted and small, and like I can't move and I can't breathe. And so I did one of my processes on myself, and I realized, I could live my life out like that and I would hate it. That is not the life I want. There's something about getting in touch with what's been holding you back and really going deeply into it just for a moment, not to stay there, but to taste it and to turn it around, because then you have a powerful antidote that's custom designed for you. And I can talk more about what I mean by antidote in a moment.
Yeah, well, definitely. Let's go into that, because it sounds delicious, and I'm not sure I understand it.
Well, let me define that first. So thank you for commenting like that. So if you think about being bit by a poisonous snake, you could die.
Okay.
But there's an antidote that has some of the venom of that snake, which saves your life. And if you don't get the antidote in time, you're going to die. And the old flu vaccine before the messenger RNA had flu virus in the vaccine, which is if you get the right strain of flu in the vaccine, you don't get that strain of flu. If you get the wrong strain of flu, you're still going to get the new strain. Okay. So emotionally, you could say that we all have our own unique emotional venom. It may not kill us, but it will hold us back. It could kill a dream for sure. And so what I do with my students, my clients, is we go back to the early imprints, because when we're young, and new in the world. We don't yet know what to expect from the world, how to be treated, how our parents should talk to us, how our big sisters should treat us. We don't know. So we're treated a certain way and we take it on as, okay, I guess this is reality. That's who I am. That's how I can expect to be treated. And the brain wants comfort. So the brain keeps repeating those patterns in new relationships and situations. And there you are, you come into the world with this tabula rasa, clean slate, and then these neural pathways get imprinted. Oh, I feel diminished. Okay, that's me. Oh, I need to be shy. I need to hold back. Oh, okay, that's me. And then day after day, month after month, year after year, decades later, those neural pathways are so strong that they are in charge. They run the show. They determine how I show up in relationships and when I created my business, in life. Were you going to say something?
Yeah, I wanted to share as you're describing this process. I grew up in a household where my dad was an alcoholic and there were screaming matches, and my parents would fight and then he would leave. And I made that mean for me that conflict means people will leave you. So when I was married, and my husband had all of these behaviors, because of course I married an alcoholic.
Of course.
I won't do that again. Anyway, when I would be so upset and angry, I kept everything inside, because if I spoke my truth, he would leave.
Of course.
And it really took a long time for me to recognize that's what happened, like that it came from that whole space. And then I learned, people can have arguments and work through them. Like, oh my gosh, that was amazing to see that. So I share that story because I can see the patterns in my own life from what you're describing.
Well, thank you for sharing that story, Nancy. And it's so true that I think anger is one of the most misunderstood emotions, because underneath the anger is hurt and a feeling of betrayal and loss. And it's so painful that we cover it up with anger. Yeah. And people tend to overdo it or underdo it. And I talk a lot about emotional polarities, that in a way there's this high side, this healthy side of a particular attribute, and there's a dark shadow side. I don't like to call them good and bad. I don't like the judgment of that. There are these emotions we like, we want more of. These emotions we don't like, we want less of. And in my experience, the best way to manage to deal with anger and hurt or betrayal in a healthy way is to understand that whole polarity. And the way we do that is by getting the antidote. So we go into, anger, hurt. If I express my hurt, or we have a disagreement, there's going to be an argument, you're going to leave me. What's diminished inside is the inability to take a stand for yourself and to speak up in a healthy, gentle, connecting way, where it's not even an argument. There's an art form to this, actually, where you can bring it up in a context and have a conversation about it. And I was calling it the 5Ks. And I was talking about this to one of the classes I'm teaching. And I'm calling it the 5Ks. It was kind of a joke because they're not Ks, they're K sounding words. So it's really the 5 keys to deal with anger. First of all, calm. We have to calm down and don't talk about it until you're calm inside. So calm, kind, connected, have compassion. And this is the last one, is so important, and it's never trained or taught, to be curious. Because when there's a disagreement, we often don't understand the other person's perspective, how they were seeing it, what their hot buttons were, what got pushed in them when that thing happened. And so thank you. Someone's putting into the chat, calm, kind, connected. 4 is compassionate and curious. Curious is an art form all by itself. So to go back to describing the antidote, in my work, we go back to that early imprint, and I have you embody just for a short time what it felt like when dad abandoned you, and when the anger, the hurt that you felt inside. And then we very quickly turn it around into what becomes a custom designed antidote for you. And I could tell you and suggest some mantras and mudras. These are ways I work. Mantras are words or phrases. Mudras traditionally are by prayer or meditation positions. I take a lot of creative license with these terms. And then you have this mantra and a mudra that is very powerful and quick and creating a neural pathway right away. The neural pathway changes your brain. It changes the energy in your body. And then when that person or someone or life pushes a button and you're hurt or angry or upset, you have that neural pathway. And a very easy way to change your brain's response to the old way. And now there's an empowering way. You can take a stand for who you are. It's your unique, custom designed antidote to show up in the world the way you want.
I love it. I love it. And we used, this example about the antidote, something related to, you want a dream relationship, you want a dream business. We've got to recognize, first have an awareness that there may be something holding us back, right? We've got to start with that place.
And it may not just be them and how mean and nasty that person was. Mm-hmm. Maybe we're making poor choices for ourselves about who we're in relationship with.
Yeah.
And it could be time to choose differently.
I love it. Yeah. And so I realized that we jumped into the conversation because that's what we do. And I did not share some of your background with our audience. So let me do that now. Just so you know, you are being poured into from a woman who has over 50 years of experience and expertise in this work, specifically related to emotional mastery for the past 28 years. And she helps you have more of the emotions you want and less of the emotions you don't want. Who's happy about that? Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, she's the creator of the program Choice for Freedom and Impact, the Emotional Mastery Foundation. She's known as a master of change with emotional mastery, and you can learn to choose your emotions, and that change can be easy. Yes, let's do that. Andrea has taught and coached the Isaacs method for emotional mastery to thousands of people in 27 countries. She was on the faculty for the Enneagram Institute for 24 years, a faculty member of the Humanities Team for Conscious Business Initiative and their new platform, PACE, creating a world of peace, harmony, and happiness. She is also part of the faculty for the People Skills Academy, and she's hosting a masterclass on September 15th. We'll let you know how you can get that. I'll put the link in the chat, and you're invited to come to that for free so we can continue you making powerful, easy choices that bring you more of what you want. So let's talk a little bit about dreams and goals. One of the things that I've seen, in myself and working with thousands of clients as well, is that when somebody actually gets the courage to share their dream, right? And we all have these dreams and ideas in our mind. And the more that we cultivate those neural pathways, the more dreams and goals will come to you. And I've noticed something happen. Somebody shares a dream or a goal, and then I say, okay, what are some of the ways you would get there? And there's this gap between the brain and the pen where you start to write things down. And that's where all those fears and doubts and I don't know hows can show up. Can you give us some guidance around that piece?
Yes. In fact, I'm going to show you something that will illustrate this a little bit. Do I have permission to share my screen?
I can give you permission to share your screen. So give
me.
So you probably can give it a go.
Okay. Nope, not yet.
Okay, so what do I need to do to make that happen?
When I click on the green box, share screen, one of the options is all participants can share.
I'm going to make you a co-host.
I thought I was.
Now you should be able to do it.
Yes, awesome. Okay, so Nancy mentioned the word Enneagram. So for those of you who are unfamiliar, I'll just simply put, Ennea means 9 in Greek, and it's a diagram. More interestingly, it also depicts 9 different personality styles. Each have predictable gifts and challenges. So on the left is Karen when I first met her, and she came to me having a dream. She was building her coaching business. She was a new entrepreneur. She was mature. She was in her late 40s, I believe. So it was also a career change for her. And she came to me wanting to have a better business plan. She needed more strategy. She wanted to write a website, and she wanted business cards. Okay. So she had this dream, and she had that, as you're just describing, Nancy, she had that gap between the idea, this dream in her mind and in her heart. And she kept procrastinating. She just didn't get around to writing the copy. She kind of knew some of the steps. She thought her problem was business strategy. Well, this is a chart that depicts her results of my quiz. Now, yes, my quiz is based on the Enneagram, but it's not about your personality type, though that's a possible outcome of my looking at your chart. It shows your gifts and challenges in 18 dimensions of human emotion. And the way I look at the chart, I can see what's been holding her back and how she's been showing up in life. So without needing to know the system, let me describe a few things here. This really strong greens are the gifts of each type. She is a peacemaker. And so she wants inner peace, peace in her relationships, peace in her life. That is such a high value that it also causes what I call the gift gone wrong, too much of a good thing. She has a tendency to not speak up for what she wants because it might break the peace between her and her husband, or her and her kids, or what if someone else has the same dream and it would be in competition for whatever reason, and goes way back to childhood. She is reluctant to express what she needs to the point that she may not know what she needs. More interestingly in this chart is, let's see, I want to just look at the chat and see if there's a question. Okay. I like answering questions as they come up. That's why I peek now and then. Okay. What I notice in her chart, look over here under the enthusiast. Remember I said green is the gift? Where is her enthusiasm? Oops. So I said to her, Karen, are you happy? And she talked to me about this fascination about the inner world. She has a really strong score over here, this green score, I'm sorry, for type 4. I don't need to tell you exactly what it means, but I can tell, she's fascinated with the inner life. And I asked her again, but Karen, are you happy? And she wanted to write her website. And I, for some reason, I was compelled to ask her a third time. I don't like pushing on a button if someone says no, but there was something about this. So I said, Karen, are you happy? And then finally, she kind of bounced back and she thought, well, nobody ever asked me that. Well, I would like more juice in my life. So that's what prompted her to sign up to work with me. And behind her procrastination, her resistance to doing the webpage was the fact that she didn't think her needs mattered. She put her joy on hold until she got all her business stuff done, which wasn't happening because of her procrastination. It's all connected, which is why her achiever score is on the low side. So we did some work together. And what happened is her inability to know what she needed. If you look at the red score for type 9 over here, her inability to know what she needed went down. Her joy factor started going up a little bit. But what happened over the next few months is she started to embrace joy as a virtue, as a value. And what happened, she sat down to write the content for her webpage, and her joy spilled into her words. And I love reading her webpage because of the joy that she is carrying, that she is now offering to her clients. And it launched her business. That space between the dream and the action, there was no more space. She just acted on her behalf.
Fantastic. Because, so first of all, kudos. I love this whole process that you go through, which is one of the reasons I wanted you to come and share this with our community, and being able to identify where the real block or challenge was. It wasn't in needing to know how, it was uncovering what was really getting in the way. Exactly.
And you know what? If we don't do that work, if we're not the master of our emotions and we notice what's been holding us back, if we can't do that next step in your business growth, it may happen, but it'll take a really long time because the fear, the procrastination, I don't know, I'm not sure, maybe I'm a fraud, maybe it's not the right dream. All of that will get in your way if you don't do this work.
And let's talk about the Enneagram. So thank you for sharing that. And you actually marry the Enneagram with body work.
Yes.
So and you shared a little bit about it before, and because I know more about it, let's talk about this on the connection between our emotions and our body. And I think, intellectually, most of our community would recognize that there is a connection between the two, but you have really dialed in on how to identify it, experience it, and transform it.
So I can't see everybody on the screen because the videos are off, but I can see you, Nancy. So Nancy, maybe you can join me in this.
Sure.
Something happened that made you really sad. And just notice made you maybe remember a moment when you were sad. There's a shift in the energy in your body. Maybe your heart feels heavy. Let's all join me and Nancy together and let your heart feel heavy. Personally, I'm sinking forward, and my shoulders are starting to curve in as if to go inside to my heart. And you know what? We're not used to listening to our body, so we have to turn the volume up. And what that means in this case is we're going to exaggerate that feeling of heavy, heavy, heavy. Good. And you can hold that feeling of heavy forever if you want. And some people do. Some people hold on to their sadness. Now let's imagine just come back to neutral, come back to vertical. And thank you for joining me. And imagine you're seeing an old friend that you haven't seen in ages because now COVID's over. Imagine, and you finally get to see your best friend and give her or him a big hug. You notice your body, the energy in your body now. Yeah. Now, is there a difference between the energy in your body in those two emotions?
Massive difference.
Yeah. So now these are neural pathways that connect your brain and your body and so on. And the information on your neural pathways goes in two directions. In other words, an outer experience can cause an inner feeling, which changes the body, either this, or you can decide, you can choose an emotion, you can choose. And so you might start to feel the sinking or the anger or the hurt, and you can choose your emotion. The information now travels from the inside, and you create a new energy in your body, which changes your thoughts and changes your feelings. It changes how you respond to the world. That message goes from the inside out. And then you show up with courage and confidence. Like when I stood up and said, my brother knows Bruce Springsteen, it was a new neural pathway. I mean, not so new because I've been training it over the years. Yeah. So let's see. You asked me another part of the question. There's more.
Yeah, that was perfect. So
okay.
It was about marrying the Enneagram with the physical.
Yeah, so thank you. Okay. So my first professional career was as a modern dancer choreographer. And as a shy person, it's kind of funny that I had a nonverbal career. And the dances I love to choreograph were about emotions and people and relationships. And I learned a long time ago, 50 some years ago, that I couldn't ask my dancers just to move like they're happy or sad or in love or angry, whatever. I found a way to have them move in a way that generated the emotion I wanted them to communicate on stage. Mm. And then it was an authentic and powerful expression of emotion. And then fast forward 25 years, I learned the Enneagram. And I learned so much about myself and why I was the way I was. And I am an experiential and kinesthetic learner. I wanted an experiential way to learn the system because I sat on my butt for 12 hours a day for a week in that first training. And I just wanted to do the Enneagram. It was so clear to me because of my background that it could be done and it didn't exist. And so I created something I came to call Any Emotion, which I thought at first was a way to teach the Enneagram, an experiential way so you learn it in your bones. When you learn something in your bones, you remember it more deeply. And so that's what I did. However, when I started to teach it, something happened that really surprised me. I started to change. I'll never forget the night before my first Any Emotion class, there's 65 people coming. And I was so scared. I didn't sleep the night before and I was hoping people would show up like, oh, they forget. Oh, it rained or it didn't rain or I want to be out, whatever. All these excuses I hoped and prayed for. And of course they all showed up. And so I showed up too fully, because I wanted to bring this message to the world. And when we did this particular type whose gift is confidence, which I had lacked back in the day, whose challenge is being angry unnecessarily and very short-tempered, which is what I hated as a child, and I know you can relate to that. Mm-hmm. I swore I'll never be like that. Well, it diminished my ability to be like this. And those of you who can't see me, I'm pointing at the healthy confidence side. I couldn't be that. So we're doing that particular personality style. The first time we went to what I call the dark shadow, the anger, the room exploded in rage. And I got so scared. I wanted to run out of the room. What I learned in letting myself deliberately feel the dark shadow, I learned that anger is just energy. And we can choose what we do with it. And if I'm hurt or angry, or someone else is angry at me, what that exercise gave me was the ability to stand, hold my ground, be present, not run away, go to my room and cry, or never speak up, or resent you forever and never see you again, which can challenge or destroy a relationship.
Right.
Instead, yeah, if we don't let the other person know we're hurt or angry, we're always going to carry the hurt or the anger.
Mhm.
What we can do when we learn how to be the master of our emotions, and what I learned about anger being energy, is I could stand and stay present, and I didn't have to yell or scream, didn't have to raise my voice. I could, for instance, say to my sister, Susan, that was hurtful. And I could be the 5 Ks. I could be calm, kind, connected, compassionate, and curious. Have a conversation about it so that we both came to an understanding of the other person's perspective, resolve the situation so it never has to happen again. And then, instead of challenging or destroying the relationship, relationships can be nurtured. And that's a much more pleasant way to live. And then not the funny thing, but a consequence or side benefit, or real purpose of all of this, is every time I had one of these steps in my own personal growth, it showed up in my business. My comfort zone in my business would expand. My outreach would expand. My ease and my taking action in terms of writing copy, meeting deadlines, and all of that was enhanced. And the people that were attracted to working with me, all of that was enhanced. So it's reflected every time I grow inside, my world on the outside grows too.
Beautiful, beautiful. We got lots of great comments in the chat, and I want to give everybody an opportunity to ask some questions. So what I'm going to do is, if you have a question, you can put your hand up. I see Roz has her hand up, and you can also hit *6 if you're on the phone. Raise your hand, however you want to do it. If you're on Facebook and you want to put your question in the chat. What I would love for you to share now is about this masterclass, because obviously this is work that we want to continue to do. And as Andrea was just saying, every time we grow and expand, everything else will expand in your life. So share about this masterclass that you're doing September 15th, I believe.
Yes, September 15th at 4 p.m. Pacific. Yes. And it is a free masterclass. So you've heard me talk about choosing your emotions and choice, the idea of choice. Yes. So choice has been on my brain so much. And so that is the theme for this masterclass: choice, the pathway to your emotional mastery. And so I'm going to unpack what that is. It became an acronym for me. I'm going to unpack what that means. I could give you a little heads up, but I won't go into depth in it right now, because I want you to show up at the masterclass. So C is, we need to cultivate our emotions. And what I see as how I see the Enneagram, it's like a vocabulary for our emotions. We're never really taught an emotional vocabulary. Well, how do you feel? Well, there's such an incredible range of answers to that question. How do you even talk about your emotions? I don't know what I'm feeling. I'm just upset, or whatever. That's a really, well, one word is really, that's actually okay to have just one word. What I love about the Enneagram is, at a glance, I see 18 dimensions of emotion, even though most people only look at it as 9, because Ennea means 9 and so on. And once we learn how to embody the Enneagram, which is part of what I do in my teachings, then you have a vocabulary. When you start to learn your first language, or when you're learning a foreign language, you don't start speaking in paragraphs right away or telling stories. You learn words, and then you put sentences together. And then you have a longer thought with more sentences. So in a way, this is like learning a foreign language. And every time you expand your emotional capacity, this is what I mean by cultivate emotions. Every time you explore one of the Enneagram types, and I know and believe that we all have more and less of the gifts and challenges of all of them. Every time we explore one of them, we can expand our options. We can expand them more and more. So if I was shy, I can choose to be confident. If I'm angry, I can choose to be patient and accepting. If I'm envious, I could choose to recognize there's something about my life I'm not addressing. I can choose my emotions. We cultivate these options. And the other thing we learn in doing this work is that initially is based on the Enneagram, is we go up and down what I call these emotional levels of health, from when each type is in their essential best self and the dark shadow for each. And because we shift our inner state, you start to learn what I call emotional flexibility. Emotional flexibility is essential for your emotional intelligence, for your emotional mastery. Emotional flexibility plus emotional capacity, when you increase that, that gives you the ability to be the master of your emotions. So then the Enneagram, this work is not just about the Enneagram. Then the Enneagram becomes a doorway to your emotional mastery.
That was so good. That was so good. So emotional flexibility plus emotional capacity is the pathway to emotional mastery.
Yes.
So good. So good.
Yes.
We've got so many great comments here.
Yeah.
Awesome conversation. We've got a couple of people that want to share. And let me let everybody know, to join Andrea for the masterclass, go to bit.ly/AIWPN, which stands for Andrea Isaacs WPN. So bit.ly/AIWPN, all lowercase, and that'll get you right to the registration page. I've put the information in the chat as well as in the comments below. And I know several of you are on your phone, so just jot that down. And also, you have a way for them to get the information via text. Could you share that?
I'm going to put this in the chat. So if you have a cell phone, and most of us do, send a text. You do not need the number 1 if you're in the US. You do not need spaces or dashes. Enter in the to field, send a message to area code 855-476-4845. And then in the area where you type your text message, put the word mastery, WPN. You know what that one it means. No spaces there. So 855-476-4845. They send a message to that number. And then in the text area, type the message, only this, mastery, WPN. And it'll take you directly to the opt-in.
Perfect. So you'll be able to register for the class. Are you recording it in case they can't be there live?
Yes. And it would be best if you register and then you'll get the replay link. Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, let's go ahead and open up. First, I'm going to hit open up for Roz. So welcome, Roz. Thank you for capturing and typing such great notes for us. And to all of our listeners, if you'd like to join us, simply hit *6 on your phone or raise your hand if you're on your computer. If you're with us on Facebook, just put your question in the comments. So Roz, are you there?
Can you hear me?
I hear you.
Yes, I can hear you, Roz. I love all your comments in the chat, Roz. Thank you.
Oh my God, Miss Andrea, where you been all my life? Oh my gosh, you are loved, appreciated, celebrated, valued, and most cherished for September 1. And what you're teaching for the month of 9, and we know that this is the beginning month of autumn, that we still have colors that still bring out life, even though it's about to go into a hibernation state. Oh my gosh, you have me so stimulated. And I can't make this stuff up. For if you were to have heard my teaching that I did this morning in Clubhouse. So I just want to say thank you. This is helping me. Something very traumatic took place for me emotionally this past week that I'm having to work out. So I'm going to look forward to being in the class. I hadn't even looked at my calendar yet, but somebody about to get their feelings hurt because I'm going to have to shift so I can hang out with you. But thank you so much for this. You talk about the 9, and me and my best friend, we talk about just the 3 of dealing with our born again self, our rational self, and our ego. But here, girlfriend, you talk about, now I know I'm not crazy. So I got all these other things going on inside of me. So I'm looking forward to learning, turning my red into green for life. So thank you so much. You are loved, appreciated, celebrated, valued, and most cherished. I love me some sisters at WPN. So thank you so much.
Oh, Roz, you are just touching my heart so deeply in so many ways. I love your passion for the work that you're doing. I also want to say, in terms of whatever it was that happened recently, well, I want you all to know that I would love to talk with you individually in a way that would go deeper than we can on the masterclass. When you get invited, when you sign up for the masterclass, I'm sure you'll get the link to my quiz, and then you'll get an email inviting you to my calendar. And what I'm going to do for the near future, because of your group, Nancy, usually there's a fee of $397 to get the call with me, and I'm going to drop it $200. So it's going to be $197. And what we can do in that call is, Roz, we could find a custom designed antidote to help heal your heart, because it probably is an old wound that's been lingering, and this showed up because it's time to heal it.
Yes, and I thank you for that, because with you talking about the dark shadow and being a believer, some people think to talk about the dark is witchcraft, but it's the reality of life, because David found himself in the cave many, 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 many times. And guess what? A seed grows in the dark, and we get harvest and yield from seeds that grow in the dark. So my sister, thank you so much. I'll look forward to getting with your class, look forward to doing life with you, and just abundance and blessings to you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you, Roz. I look forward to doing life with you too. I love that.
All right, good. And let's go ahead and share the link again. You go to bit.ly/AIWPN, all lowercase. And I just tested it and it worked. So you can also text a phone number, 855-476-4845 is the phone number that you text the message, Mastery WPN, all one word too. So you can get to the class either way. All right, let's go ahead and open up for Aurelia. Good morning. Your line is open. And if you have a question, go ahead and state it in the chat. You can raise your hand or you can hit *6. Aurelia, you are live.
Good morning. Hi, Andrea. I have a quick question. Well, two. The Enneagram is not your deal, is it? It's somebody else's. I think I've heard of that, but I can't remember.
Yeah, I saw that in the chat. I'll answer that briefly, and you probably have a follow-up question. It was used as a symbol in the Sufi teachings like thousands of years ago. It was not seen as a personality system until the 1950s and 60s. And it was taught in the US for the first time in the 1960s. And the very small people that I would call the first generation teachers were then inspired to bring this work to the greater world. And there was maybe a handful of 5-6 people who did that initially. And then the next level, which is where I'm at, were like the second generation teachers. I came across the Enneagram in 1994. And as I mentioned in the chat, I didn't create the system, but I did create the embodiment path of understanding the Enneagram, of teaching it, and then seeing the Enneagram really as a doorway to your emotional mastery. These are my unique perspectives, and the chart with the gifts and the challenges you don't see in other places. Usually the red and green scores, and I love this one wants, I think it was Roz that said she wants less red. These are my perspectives. This is my contribution to the field.
Excellent. So what is the name of the company or the organization that created that? Or I think I may have run across it. That's why I'm asking.
So the first man who brought it, who connected it as a personality system, he says, and I'll put it in the chat because it's hard to understand. His name is Oscar Ichazo, Ichazo. And he had a school called the Arica School. That's in the chat, Arica. He had the Arica School, which was actually a spiritual school. And the Enneagram was one of the things he taught. He taught Buddhist meditation. He had movement practices. He had a realm of techniques for helping people reach enlightenment. And one of his tools was the Enneagram. And so he was the one who really who conceptualized the Enneagram as a personality system. He was the first.
Thank you. And one last question, a quick, easy way to reprogram the neuro pathways that are leading us to the life that we don't want.
You want a quick and easy way for that?
Quick and easy.
Nancy, is there a comment in your laughter?
So what I was thinking, so thanks Aurelia for that. It starts with awareness, some shift in recognition in your body and emotions, and a commitment to the work, because you can have quick and easy, but don't you also want lasting?
Well, yeah, absolutely.
I'll have it all for sure.
So I want to answer. The reason I kind of deferred is I can give you an answer to that question, and I will in a moment. And I want you to know that it will, by virtue of this being a group call, be somewhat generic. So let me ask Nancy a permission for something first. Nancy, if you remember the exercise I led you through when we had this short conversation,
Yes.
would it be okay to do something like that now?
We have time. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So Aurelia, how do you say your name? Aurelia?
Oralia. All the vowels are short except for the O.
Oh, that's a beautiful way to explain Aurelia. Beautiful. I'm going to ask Aurelia these questions. However, I want everybody listening to guide yourself through this process as I talk to her. So Aurelia, you were saying, is there a quick and easy way to, how did you put it, to like make my dreams happen quick and easy? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So Aurelia, when you're not going for that, for your dream, whether it's procrastinating or resisting or doing it wrong or thinking it's not right enough.
Thinking in the past about past BS.
I'm sorry, I missed what you said. Could you repeat?
Thinking about the past,
Thinking about the past.
Yes.
So when you think about the past, what in particular are you thinking about?
Oh my gosh.
The way you failed in the past? What someone
No,
said?
all the times where I was wrong. Thus,
Oh.
I feel victimized. And that's a big one for many of us. And this just happened yesterday. So
it's still holding you back. Thank you. I want to say thank you, Aurelia, for letting us see your vulnerability. It's really precious because what you're about to do and you're engaging in this process will deepen this for everybody. So wrong, all the times you've been wrong and then victimized, you're wrong, you're wrong. Can you, Aurelia, can you give me just a little more specific flavor of the message you got when you were wrong? Like, you're stupid, you can't do that. Or what's the voice you're carrying in your head now when you feel wrong or you're afraid you might be wrong?
you know, I do feel wrong, but in this particular instance, I'm referring to when I was wrong, when somebody committed a gross injustice against me. That is so painful that it still brings me to tears.
Got it. So when someone, thank you so much. So when someone committed a gross injustice to you, and when I've worked with a lot of people who are survivors of incest and other tragic, really traumatic experiences. So there's a part of you when you were young, you couldn't respond, like you couldn't fight back. You couldn't. Am I correct so far?
Yes, and I did fight back. That's the thing.
Okay, good for you. Good for you.
But I want to stop the fight now because a lot, and I would like to stop creating those situations and forget about the past ones that have happened.
Right. Well, as I mentioned earlier, you might recall the antidote is more powerful when you do let yourself feel it briefly. I don't think we'll go there right now, but I want you to know that it will be even more powerful because it will have your particular and unique flavor of your emotional venom. Remember? Mm-hmm. That's how we create a really potent antidote. So being somewhat generic. So when you were wronged and someone committed a gross injustice and you fought back, is there a feeling in you that you always have to fight to get what you want? You always have to fight for it?
Hell yeah.
Oh God, thank you. Hell yeah. And tell me, Aurelia, how has that worked for you?
To some degree, but mostly it hasn't. It's created more pain for my body, for my health.
God, okay. Thank you. Okay, so let's skip to this. Let's all feel this in our bodies or whatever your unique version of holding yourself back is. But for you, Aurelia, gotta fight. When I'm feeling in my bodies, both fists are clenched and it's like, I'm going to fight. I'm going to do this. And I want you to turn up the volume. Remember I said we have to exaggerate it so we can turn up the volume and feel and notice what our bodies are doing to us. Do you remember that, Aurelia?
Yes.
Okay, so clench your fist for me. And imagine you're fighting right now and make sure you don't hurt yourself. You don't hurt anything. You're not going to knock down anything. And I want you just to pound your fist in the air in front of you and the other fist, one fist and the other, and again, and let your breath change because all you have to do is fight. And we're going to exaggerate this so much. And imagine you have to fight your way through life. Okay. Are you feeling that, Aurelia?
Yeah.
Good job. Now ask your body, is this what you want? Is this what you want?
No.
Okay, so bypass your thinking mind, keep doing it for just another moment and let your body find what it would rather do. What would your body want? And I'm noticing my fist is starting to relax. My breath is starting to change. Tell me what's happening as you are letting your body find what it would prefer, Aralia.
To just be an allowance, to just allow it to pass right through me.
I allow it to pass right through me. So you're allowing, yes. And what does this mean for like fighting for what you want when you are allowing? What are you able to be with what you want? Let your body keep repeating what it's doing, whatever it is. Don't think it too hard. Let your body repeat again and exaggerate this. What I just took a deeper breath in. When you allow, Aralia, going for your dreams can happen with what?
Ease.
Ease. Thank you. And is there anything else there? Is there?
So it's still standing up for myself, being in integrity, maintaining my sovereignty, and doing it from a completely different space of ease without going crazy over it and inflicting more harm to me and my body.
So I'm capturing some of your words. I'm going to suggest a mantra, and you can tweak this in any way makes most sense to you, but I want you to repeat after me and tell me if this feels really yummy for you. I stand up for myself and go for my dreams with ease.
Oh yeah, I stand up for myself and go for my dreams with ease.
Now there's one really important thing I want you to do after that. I want you to say it again, and then I'm going to tell you what it is. So take it. Let's all do this. Why don't, if you want to, you can join Aralia in her mantra. Take a deep breath in, Aralia. And then when you're ready, I stand up for myself and go for
myself and go for my dreams with ease and clarity.
And clarity. And keep that feeling in your body. Keep it in your body. Keep it in your body. Keep it in your body. The essential thing is you feel the meaning of those words in your body. And I invite you to go back to neutral. We're going to do it one more time. And I want to add an element because, Aurelia, your mantra, which is so deeply beautiful, has 3 different feelings to it. Oh, and clarity. Okay. I stand up for myself is one feeling in your body, right? Just do that one and feel it in your body. I stand up for myself and feel it in your body. Let me hear you, Aurelia.
I stand up for myself.
Feel that in your body.
For myself.
That's it. I like that you repeated. Good job. And go for my dreams has a different feeling. Do that.
Go for my dreams. And I go for my dreams. And I go for my dreams. And I go for my dreams.
Beautiful. I love how you're repeating it. You're getting it. You're getting it. With ease and clarity.
With ease and clarity.
Feel that in your body.
And clarity. With ease and clarity. With ease and clarity.
There you go. That was beautiful. So we'll do this all together, and then we'll bring this particular thing to a close. Let's do the whole bit now, Aurelia.
I stand up for myself and go for my dreams with ease and clarity.
Yes. How'd that feel?
Much better. Much
better. Before you embark on whatever your to-do list is, get this going. Get this neural pathway going first. Get this energy, get this neural pathway awake and alive and engaged, and then sit down and go to work. Does that make sense?
Yes, excellent. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
Thank you. That was beautiful. And I am certain that everyone got value from that, myself included.
I love her mantra too.
That is a good one.
I'm curious if others want to put in the chat something that came up for them in doing that exercise.
Okay, beautiful. Go ahead and put your comments in the chat. We've got a few more minutes, so I want to go ahead and give an opportunity. I believe Stacy wanted to share next. Is that you, Stacy?
Hello.
Hi.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
So first of all, this was amazing. I have to tell you that I'm sitting on the beach on vacation, and when this call started, as I was listening to you and taking it, I was walking on the beach for an hour this morning, and this is amazing.
Stacy, it's a little challenging to hear you.
Okay, I'm sorry. Is this any better? I'm trying to block the wind off my AirPod. But
Yeah,
I was just saying, I'm on the beach, and it's amazing, and taking this in while walking on the beach has been amazing. And I love the exercise you just did. I want to just ask you, you mentioned the flexibility, emotional flexibility, if I remember correctly, and emotional capacity. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. So knowing that we only have 2 minutes left, I just want to say, can you just speak to that idea? Because telling people, your emotional flexibility, your emotional capacity will be a factor for you. But can you just speak to increasing emotional capacity?
Yeah.
Increasing that emotional capacity. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for your question. So speaking in terms of my own personal experience, my emotional capacity was I'm shy. Confidence was not in my range. It was not, I did not have the capacity to be confident. Emotional flexibility, you know what? When we're hurt or angry, there's a self-righteousness. I'm right to be angry because you did this. I am right to be angry. That is not being emotionally flexible. Yes, I'm hurt and angry. Is that how I want to be? Is that how I want to show up with you with the 5Ks, with the 5 keys? No. Will it work for me if I show up with that anger? No. Being flexible is being willing to let go of the anger. So I am flexible enough to choose being calm. Because when I'm attached to being self-righteous about how many reasons I have to be angry, that is not emotional flexibility. Does that answer your question?
That was perfect, I think.
Cool.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for that. I do appreciate it. And I just want to ask you one more question. One of the challenges I find personally,
Stacey, it's challenging to hear you.
Hold on, let me take off the Bluetooth.
Yeah,
Can you hear me better now on the phone?
Much better.
Okay, so here's just another question. And again, I know we have limited time, but one of the challenges I am an empath and I feel things very deeply. And I noticed that
we can't hear you.
I am so sorry. The static and the wind was coming through. So
That's the link to my call, and we'll talk later. Get the link, and we'll talk.
Or reach out to me, and I'll get you guys connected as well. Stacey, I apologize for that, and but we do want to hear you. So we love you. We want to hear you. We're at the top of the hour. We have a couple of more people in queue. Can I open up for one more, perhaps? Andrea, would be okay with that?
I'm absolutely okay. Yes.
All right. This is not phone number 973. You can go ahead and unmute yourself. 973-706 if you'd like to ask a question of Andrea.
Hi, it's Deborah Morrison.
Hi, Deborah.
Hi.
Hi. I know the work. Thank you, Andrea. This has been extremely rich, and I so appreciate your generous offer, and I will take you up on that for an individual session. I know the work of Dr. Jill Bolte-Taylor, and she has given quite a bit to neuro pathway research and so forth as a surgeon herself. But she talks about 90 seconds is all it takes to change our entire physiology. And I don't know if this is able to be answered swiftly, but is there a way, because I know that is true. What I don't do well is to stop myself. Maybe I need NLP, and anchor it on my knuckle or something. When I'm in a fit of anger, is to stop and realize, wait a minute, Deborah, this is a choice. Is there some type of pattern interrupt that you have found helpful?
Yes, and I do have an acronym to help us all remember it. And actually, there's other research about the magic quarter second. There's more that I can say about this. I'll talk about it in the masterclass. We actually have a quarter second, which is so fast we cannot count that fast. But in brain time, it's enough time to stop the old response. However, in a fit of anger, the acronym is SNOW. SNOW. And you have to be able to catch it. As soon as you're angry, catch it. As you're saying, it is the stop. Just stop. Don't say anything. Don't do anything. Just stop. SNOW. SNN is notice. Sometimes we don't know how we'd rather be. And so just notice the energy in your body. Like I talked to Ralia through. Well, I just was angry. I fight my way through. Notice the energy in your body. Nice. Is it hard and firm? Is it like really weak and wimpy? Is it direct and in someone's face, or are you avoiding? So on. Okay, SNOW, SNO. The O stands for whatever the energy is in your body, do the opposite. And whatever happens, then SNOW, SNOW, wow, watch and wait and see what happens next. Because when you change the energy in your body, it will change how you think, how you feel, and how you respond to whatever happened.
Oh, thank you so much. That was very rich.
Awesome. Thank you.
So good. So good. Thank you, Deborah. Great question. That gave us all a wonderful tool to use. So I appreciate that. All right, my friend Andrea, thank you so much for waking up early, filling us up, and giving us so many powerful tools. We're looking forward to the masterclass with you. So go to bit.ly/AIWPN, all one word, lowercase. When you do, you'll be able to register for the class. It'll take you after that to a quiz that Andrea has put together, and she's offering one-on-one sessions with you at a reduced rate, $200 off. So give yourself the gift of emotional flexibility plus emotional capacity to experience and live with emotional mastery.
And then change can happen with ease, peace, and joy.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, my friend, for being with us today. Any final word before we wrap?
I've asked a question. How can you identify what's holding you back? Take the quiz, and we'll find out together. And I want you to know that when you know how, change can be easy, and you can have a life filled with ease, peace, and joy in your personal relationships, in your business, and in your life.
Yes. Love it. Thank you so much. And thank you to all of you who joined us in the many ways we broadcast with you today. We'll be back next week with another Wow Wednesday. Until then, be sure to grab your free membership with Women's Prosperity Network or go for the gold and get all of those extra yummy treats and benefits that come with being a gold member. Have a beautiful day, my friends. Until we meet again, continue being the one. Bye, Andrea. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Nancy.
You're welcome.